From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Broadcast service. Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Malacañang on Monday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is keeping a close watch on the escalating conflict in the Middle East and has ordered government agencies to step up assistance for affected Filipinos. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro told reporters that the president wants all concerned agencies to intensify monitoring efforts and ensure that help reaches Filipinos caught in the tension that began on February 28th. She added that the president reiterated his directive to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Migrant Workers, and other relevant agencies to stay on top of the situation and guarantee the safety of overseas Filipinos. Castro also assured that the government is ready to carry out repatriation once Middle East airspace reopens.
Sa unang putok pa lang ng gulo, malinaw na ang utos ng Pangulo nitong February 28. Ibigay ang lahat ng tulong ng pamahalaan sa ating mga kababayan na naiipit sa nangyayaring kaguluhan sa Middle East. Iginiit ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa mga ahensya na ipagpatuloy at paigtingin pa ang pagmomonitor sa kalagayan ng mga Pilipino sa mga apektadong lugar. Kahapon, March 1, ay nagbigay muli ng mensahe ang Pangulo at inulit ang utos sa DFA, DMW at iba pang ahensya na i-monitor ang sitwasyon at siguruhin na makakarating ang tulong ng pamahalaan para sa kaligtasan ng ating mga kababayan. Nananatiling handa ang mga sangay ng gobyerno sa posibleng repatriation ng ating mga kababayan sa oras na magbukas ang airspace ng Middle East. Iyan ang pangako at nais ni Pangulo Marcos Jr. Maaari namang tumawag ang ating mga kababayan sa OWA emergency hotline numbers upang idulog ang kanilang mga pangangailangan.
Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA sites in the Philippines do not pose a threat to any country. The Department of National Defense or DND stressed Monday as officials move to dispel fears linking the facilities to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. In a press briefing at Malacañang, quoting a statement released by the National Security Council or NSC, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said there are no American military bases in the Philippines and that EDCA sites remain fully owned, controlled, and managed by the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP. The NSC said EDCA sites are Philippine military facilities, not U.S. bases. These locations are jointly developed for training, humanitarian assistance and disaster response, and strengthening the country's defense posture. It added that no EDCA site is being used to launch attacks, and President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has been firm that these facilities will not be used for offensive operations. NSC said Iran's strikes targeted U.S. facilities in neighboring countries, underscoring that the Philippines is not part of the conflict zone and faces no credible direct threat.
There are no American military bases in the Philippines. The sites referred to under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, are Philippine military bases that remain under the full ownership, control, and management of the armed forces of the Philippines. The National Security Council, in coordination with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Department of National Defense, and other concerned agencies, continues to closely monitor developments in the Middle East. At this time, tensions remain confined to the region, and there is no verified direct threat to Philippine territory, including our military facilities. So we urge the public to remain calm, exercise discernment, and be vigilant against disinformation. At nagsalita na rin po at nagpahayag ang AFP at ang DND. At aking din pong babasahin ang ilan sa kanilang pahayag. Sa kasalukuyan, ang gulo ay nananatili lamang sa gitnang silangan at walang inaasahang direktang banta sa ating teritoryo, maging sa mga Pilipino at dayuhang nasa bansa. Hinihikayat namin ang publiko na maging mapagmatyag laban sa disinformasyon at kinukundina natin ang mga pagpapalaganap ng takot sa ganitong mga pagkakataon. Gayunpaman, nakahanda ang DND at ang AFP na tumugon sa mga posibleng kaganapan, kabilang ang posibleng suporta sa paglikas at koordinasyon sa pagtugon sa krisis para sa mga Pilipino sa mga apektadong bansa, kung kailangan bantayan, or rather, kung kinakailanganin batay sa sitwasyon. So yan po ang kanilang pahayag.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered a full interagency mobilization to ensure the safety and welfare of overseas Filipinos as tensions continue to rise in the Middle East. In a palace briefing, Migrant Workers Secretary Leo Magpayo said the President wants government agencies working as one to deliver timely assistance to Filipinos in affected areas. Magpayo said Health Secretary Ted Herbosa is convening a meeting to unify medical responses, including online consultations and psychosocial support through the Department of Health or DOH. He added that the Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT has been instructed to work with all telecommunications companies to keep communication lines open for overseas Filipino workers or OFWs. DICT regional offices have also been told to provide free connectivity for families trying to reach loved ones in the Middle East. The Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD, led by Secretary Rex Gatchalian, is on standby to assist returning Filipinos. Magpayo said he has already met with Trade Secretary Cristina Roque to prepare reintegration and livelihood programs for OFWs who may be forced to return home. He assured that displaced workers have options, including redeployment through recruitment agencies, transfers to other countries where job orders are available, local employment through coordination with Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE and Public Employment Service offices, and tourism-related opportunities through the Department of Tourism.
Yung pagkakaroon ng unang-una yung mga opportunities nila, una kung meron silang recruitment agency, dudulog natin yung possibility na ma-deploy sila in other countries or in other areas with their recruitment agency. May options from within their recruitment agency. Second, of course, outside of the options sa recruitment agency, other possible job opportunities. So meron din naman tayong talaan sa DMW na mga job orders kung saan sila pwede maka-avail ng possibilities dun sa mga other types of work in other countries. And then of course, with the Department of Labor and meron tayong kaugnayan in terms of yung local job opportunities with the public employment service offices all around the country. Yung sa training, DG Kiko Benitez also is aligned with us in terms of possible reskilling or retooling sa pag-uwi nila. May mga vouchers, training vouchers na ibinilin sa amin si Sec Kiko na pwede naming ibigay sa kanila. Pwede nilang piliin yung kurso at saka yung training institution. Parang blank yun, yung vouchers na yun, na i-fill up lang nila. And then of course for livelihood, so nandyan na, yung banggit ko si Sec Chris Roque kanina, DTI, meron din tourism-related businesses, sina Sec Cristina Frasco, si Sec Kiko Laurel sa Department of Agriculture. So, samot-sari, private sector, business leaders like Ms. Tessie C. Coson have been so very strong partners ng pamahalaan namin ni Admin PY sa DMW OWA in terms of livelihood opportunities and marketing ng mga produkto nila sa mga malls at iba pang establishmento. So we are partnered and we're ready to provide them with the proper assistance, yung mga nanunumbalik.
That was Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine senators are calling on the government to brace for possible fuel shocks as tensions in the Middle East threaten to push global oil prices higher, impacting transport groups, farmers, and fisherfolk. Senator Raffy Tulfo warned that any spike in world oil prices will immediately hit public utility drivers and food producers. He urged the government to be ready to release fuel subsidies, noting that unused funds from previous years may still be tapped. Senator Risa Ontiveros, meanwhile, pressed the Department of Energy to prepare both urgent and long-term energy security measures, especially with uncertainty over how long the Strait of Hormuz may be disrupted. Senator Francis Pangilinan echoed the call, saying fuel subsidies must be rolled out quickly for tricycle, jeepney, and bus drivers, as well as farmers and fishermen. He added that the government should consider temporarily suspending excise taxes on diesel and kerosene. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian urged the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, to prepare for the activation of Pantawid Pasada, noting that about 2.4 billion pesos remains available for fuel assistance. He also proposed shifting the subsidy trigger from a fixed $80 per barrel threshold to a percentage-based formula to allow faster intervention. Senator Bam Aquino reminded agencies that under the train law's safeguard provision, excise tax collection on oil is automatically suspended once global prices exceed $80 per barrel. Local oil firms have already announced new price hikes effective Tuesday, 1 peso and 90 centavos per liter for gasoline and 1 peso and 20 centavos per liter for diesel.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Commission on Filipinos Overseas, or CFO, said all Philippine schools overseas in the Middle East remain safe and fully operational despite rising tensions linked to the Iran conflict. CFO Secretary Dante Clinkang II reported that while some schools have shifted to online classes following host country directives, no students, teachers, or facilities have been affected. He said the CFO is in constant coordination with the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, and the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, to ensure schools follow all safety advisories. There are 35 Philippine schools overseas or PSOs across 11 countries, with 27 located in the Arabian Gulf, serving about 25,000 students and 1,000 teachers and staff. Administrators confirmed during CFO check calls that operations continue normally. Ang emphasized that PSOs act as extensions of the motherland, providing stability and continuity for Filipino families abroad. These schools follow both Philippine education standards and host country regulations. The CFO said it remains on round-the-clock monitoring, ready to provide real-time updates to families in the Philippines while relatives studying or working in these institutions.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, on Monday announced that Filipino licensed teachers who may return home because of rising tensions in the Middle East will be given a direct pathway back into the public school system. Education Secretary Sani Angara said DepEd is ready to assist affected overseas Filipino teachers through its Sa Pinas, Ikaw ang Ma'am at Sir or SPIMS reintegration program. He assured teachers abroad that public schools in the Philippines remain open to welcome them back. The SPIMS program allows licensed Filipino teachers working overseas to transition smoothly into local teaching posts. It also offers online refresher courses to help returning educators align their skills with current DepEd standards. Qualified applicants may be hired as Teacher 1 under permanent status, subject to existing hiring rules and qualification requirements. SPIMS is led by the National Reintegration Center for Overseas Filipino Workers, or OFWs, in partnership with DepEd, Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, and other government agencies to ensure an orderly reintegration process. To qualify, applicants must be Filipino citizens or passport holders. Licensure examination for teachers or let passers with at least 1 year of teaching experience in the last 5 years and must not have resided in the Philippines for more than 3 consecutive years. Teachers may coordinate with the DMW or the National Reintegration Center for OFWs, or NRCO, for application procedures. Required documents include a valid Professional Regulation Commission or PRCID certificate of board rating and proof of overseas employment.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Malacañang on Monday announced that residents and motorists in Isabela Province can now move between Cabagan and Santa Maria much faster with the opening of a newly completed temporary steel bridge. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the structure restores mobility and supports local economic activity, while the main Cabagan-Santa Maria Bridge remains closed for major repairs. She added that the project follows President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to fast-track key infrastructure that directly benefits communities. Castro noted that Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH crews, led by Secretary Vince Dizon, worked double time completing the temporary bridge in just 2 months. The steel bridge sits beside the main structure, whose third span collapsed on February 27th last year after a 102-ton truck attempted to cross, injuring 6 people. President Marcos inspected the site shortly after the incident and ordered immediate action. With the temporary bridge now open, travel time between Cabagan and Santa Maria drops from about 90 minutes via detours to just 5 to 10 minutes through the direct crossing. The shorter route is expected to cut transport costs and speed up the movement of goods and services. The new crossing also eliminates the need for long detours or boat rides across the Cagayan River during high water periods, giving residents a safer and more reliable passage.
Mas ligtas at mabilis na biyahe. Iyan ang hatid ng nalalapit na pagbubukas ng steel bridge para sa mga residente at motorista sa Isabela. Kung noon ay 1.5 oras ang biyahe at mas mahal ang pamasahe, ngayon ay kayang gawin na 5 to 10 minutes na lang dahil mas maigsi na ang ruta sa tulong ng bagong steel bridge. Hindi na kailangan pang umikot ng mga residente ng Cabagan at Santa Maria. Mas mabilis ang daloy ng trapiko, mas mabilis ang daloy ng progreso. Maliban dito, hindi na rin kailangan gumamit ng mga residente ng bangka tuwing mataas ang tubig sa Cagayan River. Mas ligtas nang makakatawid ang mga tao sa bagong tulay. Ito ay tugon sa direktiba ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na siguruhing mabilis matatapos ang mga major infrastructure projects para sa ikagiginhawa ng mga mamamayan. Dahil sa double time na trabaho ng mga tauhan ng DPWH at sa pangunguna ni Secretary Vince Dizon, 2 buwan lamang ay natapos na ang temporary bridge. Tiniyak din ng kalihim na sisimulan na rin ang konstruksyon ng permanenteng bahagi ng tulay para makapagdaan na sa mas mabibigat na sasakyan.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.